is the challenge response, where she brings that up, like using that stress and that energy to focus our minds and to accomplish and get things done. Like when, say we have like a proposal we need to get done for work, or like in dealing with athletes where they're focused on like that moment in the game or something that's very critical or pivotal moment, that stress can be a good thing to get you through that if you can focus it and not go into that fight or flight. Now there's times that the fight or flight response can be a good thing. You know, say you had an intruder break into your house, that would be the fight mode, or the fight, or if there's a fire in your house, obviously you'd want to run away from that. And that's like been programmed into our bodies, you know, since earlier days when we're out foraging for food. We have to worry about wild animals, or if you want to go back to cavemen, dealing with dinosaurs and all that stuff. But the reality is in looking at that challenge response, you know, that's where we're able to like recognize it, realize it, focus in on it, and use it to get done what we need to accomplish. I think.
Yeah, it's a mind shift change, and really what you need to know is what is the source of the stress, right? Why do I feel like my body is, you know, gearing up for something? And how do I finish the stress, and then how do I then be done with it? And I think what happens is what we do is we get caught up in letting that stress response kind of govern our body. And so where it's easy, let's say an athletic event, or anybody that's felt their, you know, the butterflies in the tummy, let's say you're going to do a performance. You got to give a talk or
whatever
it is, exactly, right? You felt that, and you can use that to your advantage. The things that happen in the stress response, the blood pressure increase, the blood glucose increase, to make sure we have sugar for our muscles and things like that. All of those things are designed to help us either, you know, deal with that stress and then be done with it, or get away completely. And I think if we know where the stress is coming, we can focus, and then at the end we say, hey, we're done. But the big problems comes in when we're just so overwhelmed that we don't know where it's coming from, right?
and we don't know how to
and we don't know what to do, exactly. And so
I think that's where like that's where people experience anxiety, or have
for sure,
anxiety attacks. And to me, you know, I think the solution for that is to, you know, number one, replace it with a different thought. But also recognize and realize, look, this is happening. These cortisol levels are being released. This adrenaline is being released. And what I need to do is it will pass, and realize that those thoughts that are happening are not real. I've created those in my mind based off of this circumstance. And it's not really real. So, you know, most of the time, like when we have those anxiety, or people that have panic attacks, it's like, look, it's not real. It's just created in your mind, because you're worrying about what could happen or what's going to happen, rather than being in that moment. And
all those blood levels are raised, and we got to bring those all down. And so that's, you know, when people talk about stress relieving techniques, you know, that's really what it has to do.
Let's get into like some solutions. I mean, what do you recommend?
You know, it's great. I teach a class at Utah Valley University. It's a health class.
Which one of my sons has
Christian's in my biology class. That's an okay class. The health class, I think, is a better class for me.
And what's the other one called?
The other one's biology.
Okay.
But in the health class, we do a section on stress relieving techniques, and I actually have all the students do a week worth of very time efficient stress relieving techniques. And they pick one, takes them less than 2 minutes a day, and I have them do it throughout the week and then write a report after. And as a professor, I know that, you know, kids are going to try to write reports, trying to be favorable about the assignment because they want good grades.
So what are some of the techniques?
So, you know, the easiest one is deep breathing. We've known this for so long, that when we start to feel that stress, you know, and again, if it's for a purpose. We start
having technical difficulties on the show.
If there's
like, breathe in, breathe out. It'll be okay.
Yeah, and so you can take these big, deep breaths. You know, what happens when we're stressed is our breathing becomes more shallow and shorter. And so as we breathe in deeply and breathe out, we actually turn off that stress response. And so it can be really, really effective, especially in the short term, if there's something that just
the mind controls that. And it's like, look, it's
sure.
over. Let it go.
Exactly.
And then you still have to write out that cortisol and adrenaline.
The second one that I like is actually it's keeping a gratitude journal.
I like that one.
And I had a guy on a radio show that I was doing for a while, and he talked about the change that he saw in his life, and I've seen this in my students also. Right. Is at the end of the day, you'll sit down with a pen and paper or an iPhone if you want to keep getting physically stressed in your anyway. But you'll write down 3 good things that you were thankful for that day, right? And it's very easy if you really think about it. I was glad for a blue sky this morning, those types of things. And but what he said was the mind shift changed when he started to look for those things throughout the day.
Yeah, because then you're focusing on the positive rather than the negative, and you're taking accountability rather than playing this victim.
Right,
as well.
And so you'll start to see how many good things, even in a quote unquote bad day. You'll see how many good things really did take place, and you start to focus on those. And then he said the next step was you start to look for them and anticipate them. And once you anticipate those things happening, you see a lot of difference. He said that was the key from changing him into this kind of grumpy, stressed out individual to someone now that's very, happy and relaxed. And so that's my second. I think that one, again, doesn't take very long, very effective, and can change your complete, outlook on the stresses of the day-to-day life.
I like those solutions.
Those are my favorite too. And like I say, these students, I tell them at the beginning, I say, please, this is like almost research for me, like be very honest in what it does for your life. And I have not had one turn one in yet that say it was a waste of time and they didn't notice any differences. Right. And so if you can do that even for a week or two and, put it to the test, I would challenge anybody out there right now that if they wanted to try that out and see if it makes a difference.
Awesome. If we have any questions, feel free to leave comments. If not, on the live section of our show, leave comments, and Dr. Phillips or I will try to answer those. Dr. Phillips, more of a professional, so I'll leave the more technical questions, to him if you guys have any questions related to stress or anxiety or anything like that. So anything else that you want to add?
It can be a really scary thing. I think most people in this day and age, in fact, the national average on a scale of 1 to 10, most people are rating themselves at about a 7 on how stressed they are in general. Wow. And so the almost knee-jerk reaction can be just to kind of ignore it. But I just want people to know there are things going on in your stressed out body that will provide a worse life expectancy and a worse life quality. And there are easy things
that leads to other diseases.
Yeah, there are easy things you can do to take care of it. And so for sure, if you're watching this video and you have any questions or you're just wondering how can I even start, there are some really easy ways that are very, very effective.
Another thing that I found effective in dealing with stress is exercise.
For sure.
So exercise is one of those top things. And one of the biggest concerns nationally I read this on a report as far as what people are stressed about, the number one thing is like finances.
Yeah, that's usually number one.
I think that was like 68% of people are dealing with financial stress on some level or not, because you mentioned, where's my next mortgage going to come from?
I always love that, though, because I think, some of the, I laugh and say, the happiest people are the most wealthy, which just isn't true.
No, that's not true. And I think really what it comes down to, we've talked about this on another show, where that income level is like, once you hit that $70,000 level, like you got all your mortgage, you got everything kind of accounted for.
Right.
Any additional income on top of that, they've done research on this, and it doesn't make you any more happy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm willing to give it a try.
I would give it a shot too, for sure.
So, but I think that's kind of fascinating about the research. But one thing I want to give a plug to Dr. Phillips. So let's pull up his logo there. This is for Lifestyle Chiropractic up in Heber. Here. And then we have one thing I wanted to do, you can come back to us, is I wanted to give a plug because Dr. Phillips sells a couple products that do really well for his patients. One is the Multiflex, which is the joint product, and a lot of people have joint issues. And so that product's available. And then the sleep product, that's another thing that we didn't really dive into as far as stress. Like if you're not sleeping well, that causes all sorts of problems. Not only our human growth hormone, which allows our bodies to repair, rebuild, and restore. Right. If we're not sleeping well, our bodies aren't releasing the right hormones, and we're not, repairing, and our bodies are continually breaking down, and that leads to other diseases. It leads to stress. It can lead to anxiety, all sorts of other problems and issues as well. So, matter of fact, I brought in a bottle here for someone in the studio here.
There it is.
That's the Somarest product. You can pick that up there. And what I wanted to do is, for a special on the sleep product today, well, actually for the next rest of the week, if you go to highenergylabs.com and enter in the code SLEEP, all in caps, that'll give you 25% off of your entire order on any of the products, as well as the Somarest products.
Yeah, if you want to know how stressed you are, see how good your sleep is.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, really that product works really well. I don't know if you've taken that.
Yeah, yeah. We've used it at home. I've used it with patients too. They really like it. So.
Awesome. So it doesn't make you groggy the next day. It allows you to recover. It kind of relaxes you, puts you to sleep. You stay asleep, and you're not waking up, and then you're not groggy the next day like you are on a lot of those over-the-counter things like Tylenol PM or prescription drugs, things like that. So just a plug for that. And I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in and for watching.
Both times.
Apologize for the technical difficulties. And but you'll just have to watch this in 2 parts. Realize that there's 2 parts to it when you go on Facebook, and we'll try to post the whole thing up there full on YouTube. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being on the show, Scott.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
Great stuff. I appreciate all of it.
Yeah, thank you.
So.